Hi, and welcome. I'm Kim from Safety Bay Yoga Centre, and I'm going to take you through a nice all-round stretch and strengthen practice tonight. A little bit of strength work, a nice bit of stretch, and ideally just sets us up to feel good, great for our health, our well-being, and just take it easy as you go through tonight. You're welcome to extend yourself a little bit to work within yourselves, and I think that's not a bad thing. Just be a little conservative, do what you're comfortable with doing, and make it your practice. Feel free to modify, to rest where necessary, and ideally have a great practice. You're very welcome along this evening. Namaste. Let's start with a little breathing and moving. You can lie yourselves down on your mats. Stretch out. And as you take arms and legs extended along the mat, breathe in, breathe out, and hug one knee into the chest, like this. Breathing in, stretch out arms and legs, and breathe out, and hug the other knee into the chest. Let your breathing flow. Nice, easy breaths. And let your back, your hips soften, your shoulders open. Can you find some flow with your breathing here? Inhale, open out. Exhale into the stretch. Your breathing can be as long and as full as you wish. And really that's the idea of our opening sequences, is to find and feel the breath, to loosen up gently, to open and to release, and to find that feeling. It's a very good basis for our practice. All right, so when you've moved sufficiently and you're starting to open a little bit, try holding. And as you breathe out, lengthen through that long leg. Draw the other knee into the body and your shoulders away from your ears. You can close your eyes in these sequences if you wish. Supine poses and sequences often like that. And let yourselves lengthen on exhalation. Heel to head, outstretched heel to bent knee, lots of length through the neck. As you're ready, resume breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Stretch out, open out as you breathe in. It's nice, it should feel good to flow with breathing and movement. And it just helps us to bring a little more presence and feel to our practice. So loosen up a little bit more. Establish or re-establish the flow of your breathing and your movements, and then hold again with the other knee drawn into the body. Look to lengthen, to broaden, to open and to release, and feel where you're feeling this. And with that in mind, you might stay a few extra breaths on this side. It just depends what we are feeling. And each time we come to the mat, that can be different. Release and continue breathing and moving anytime you're ready. If you're starting to find a few longer, fuller breaths now, unforced, just flowing along nicely, then that's perfect. And if you feel you need to have an extra hold, do that. These last couple of breaths or extra few breaths can be pretty powerful, particularly when you add them up over time. And we'll finish off with breathing and moving. Ideally, a lovely steady flow of breath and movement. And just finish on exhalation, knee to chest. Draw the other knee up into the body and gently hug those knees into or alongside your body. Feel free to move gently and release your body, your back particularly, and your spine, and a little bit your hips if you're doing these knee circles, but under your body's weight. Feel what happens here. And feel free also to try a little roll here. See if you can comfortably, well, as best you can, roll through your lower back. And if you're okay with that, you can stretch out a little bit more as you choose. Just come back to resting when you're done. Hug your knees and rest quietly for a few breaths here. Come to easy Shavasana for a few moments. Can you lean your knees against each other? And soften as you breathe out, hips, shoulders, back. Feel the ebb and flow of your breathing. And feel your life force as you rest here quietly. And anytime you gently energize the body, we can feel this. Roll off to your side gently there. And come up to a nice comfortable sitting position. Take some easy crossed legs here. And let's circle around and soften a little bit more into those hips. Good if you can flex your feet and bring more support to your ankles and your knees. And direct a little bit more your release into hip and lower back. Use whatever supports you need tonight. Be sensible with your practice. And feel free to modify if you're not comfortable with a particular pose, stresses, or you can't get enough support in a particular pose for, an area of your body. Feel free to modify. All right, and take your arms up and lift up through the front body. Lift up through the inner arm. Stretch your fingers and then bring the arms down like so. Lift the chest. Soften those shoulders. A little easier to do when your elbows are bent. Take a good breath in here and exhaling. Come to a gentle supported side bend as you exhale. And the support here largely comes from the lower hand, just pressing down and away from the body along the mat. And feel the long side of the body as your arm comes over, just gently there, lengthen with that extra support. Breathe. And once more, as you've loosened a little now into your side body, hold briefly and just press back gently with that hand on the mat. You will feel your ability to lengthen a little more through that long side of the body. Always look to bring support to your practice wherever you can. Deep breath in. You might move a little bit more. And breathe and just prepare the way to hold to the other side, which you can do whenever you're ready there. Look for long breaths in and out And particularly early on, without forcing your breathing, just use your movements to establish flow and feel, both for your body and your breathing. You can finish on your tight side here. And come to prayer position. And briefly lift the front body, rest the shoulders back, bow the head. Close your eyes. Feel your body, feel your breathing. It's a lovely grounding poses, centering. Finish with a deeper breath. And come out slowly and take a little squat here. We'll stretch a little bit more into hands and feet. So like this, with some support here for the inner arms as I lean forwards. I squeeze the knees into the elbows and take a little bit more weight, and particularly more evenly through the hands here. As I lean back, I take a little more weight through the lower body, feeling Achilles, calves, arches of the feet, and of course a little bit of hip and groin. So lean forwards a little, lean back, find some extra release here through your body's weight and the way you bring support to your practice. And take that where you need it. Direct that support and that release to where you need it. Come up slowly to a modified Uttanasana, an Ardha Uttanasana, and we'll breathe and move here. Inhaling, a little cow pose, head up, bottom up. Exhaling, a gentle forward bend with knees bent and groins lifting to support this pose. Inhaling, look forwards, lift the inner arms. Exhaling, look down or behind, lift the groins. Again, we look for flow and feel with the breath. Flow and feel with our body as we move and breathe. Let those legs stretch and keep your back nice and soft and released, which is typical of bent knee forward bends. A little bit softer on your back. And take as many of these as you need to prepare the way. And hold your gentle forward bend whenever you're ready. Just keep that lift up the inner legs, the groins lifting. And shake your shoulders out a little bit. And wag your tail. You can stay as you are, you can keep breathing, or you can bring the arms up and over in Urdhva Hastasana. Lift those inner legs, lift those inner arms now. You'll notice my knees are well bent here. And that lets me really soften and lengthen through back, spine. And if your head is hanging, just let it move around a little bit. Steady breaths. And come back to hands in front of your feet. Bend your knees and just take your weight for a few moments and give your hands a shake. All right, just make sure you're towards the front of the mat. And then with a long inhale, head up, bottom up. Step the right foot back to the back of the mat. And take a runner's lunge, a long lunge, and a higher lunge too. Lift your hips a little bit here. In fact, let's do this. Let's inhale and take a little cat stretch here. And exhale and open out into that runner's lunge. Inhale, arch the back. Lift the belly, the inner arms. Exhaling, stretch the mat between your feet and lift those inner arms. Can you find some feel and some flow with your breathing and your movements here? You can breathe as long and as slow and as deeply as you wish, and feel free to explore that throughout your practice. And movement will help. Generally, the holds tend to test us a little bit more. If you'd like to hold in cat stretch, and continue to stretch those legs, but keep your back nice and soft. Adjust into exhalation. Pull the tummy in, lift those inner arms, and let your head hang. You look at your back foot. And come out with a long breath in. Finish with a long breath out. And back to neutral here, and reverse your stance to access the other side. All right, so it's a nice long breath in as you look behind, round, arch, and lift that upper back. A nice long breath out as you look forwards, and don't drop your hips down too much here. Just breathe and feel your way through. And generally, if we practice this way, we find the breath lengthening a little bit more. We find a deeper way. Or perhaps we find our way a little bit more deeply into our practice. Feel free to continue to breathe and move equally, to hold. See if you can open that upper back a little bit more. Stretch those legs just gently. And don't be too aggressive. Nice and easy is the way to go. All right, so back to neutral, and we're going to turn this runner's lunge into a pigeon pose here. So pop heel towards groin, knee towards outer side of the mat, and lift yourselves up a little here. Lift and open through the front body. And take some long breaths in to encourage that process. As you breathe out, drop down through the tail, through the groins, and let yourself stretch through the back leg. Take a breather with some long recovery breaths. Go deeper. And then come forwards, perhaps to your elbows. Just be mindful that you don't tip off to one side or the other, and this variation will help keep you nice and stable. However, you can go deeper if you wish. Stay with your breathing. Open, soften, lengthen, broaden, and release. Nice to take a little more back bend variation. For some of us, really need this part of the pose. And if that's you, lift and broaden the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades in and down the back. And open out a little bit more. Look up. And breathe. To change sides, prop up, step back, and roll through your hips in this rolling, one-legged downwards facing dog. Exhaling as you go back, lengthen between index finger, buttock bone, and outer heel. You're welcome to do as many of these as you like.
There's a little bit more strength and flexibility, a nice blend in your downwards facing dog, and particularly through the moving variation. And change sides by bringing the other shin bone forwards. Prop up as much as you choose and feel that you can lift, broaden and open through the front body. And draw down and back through the back plane of the body. And how are you going with your breathing? It's a pretty good breathing pose, this one. Long breaths out. You're welcome to stay longer in the back bend variation, to move to forward bend as you choose. And look for support. Look to flow through your practice and explore gently, perhaps a little deeper, depending on how you go. And forward bend variation, very relaxing for the nervous system. The back bend, a little more energetic, but a super move for your spine. Some spinal extension is a wonderful thing if you get that balance right. Depends a little bit on how you're built and how we operate. But you'll know. And lift up and open. Take long breaths. And feel free to stay as long as you like before you step back. And roll through those hips. Can you turn the heel of the leg you're stretching out a little here now? You'll notice it affects the stretch through the back of the leg, broadens, and you can tweak your down dogs this way quite nicely. You might hold one or both legs straight. Keep your hips slightly lifted, your throat open, and your shoulders open, and lengthen back. Index finger, buttock bone, outer heel is a pretty good reference, whether it's one or both legs, depending on what you're doing. Some nice steady breaths. Come into child's pose anytime you're ready to rest. And support yourselves as necessary here, so you can sit back and soften into your forward bend as you do. And from Balasana, child's pose, we're going to roll over and take an upside down child's pose. Hugging the knees into the chest. Letting the back release, the hips, the shoulders soften. And any movement that comes for you It's good here. Try circling your feet and your ankles. It should feel good after resting on your insteps in Virasana there. All right, so we're going to work into a little bit of shoulder stand here. See how you go. It's all optional. You can feel your way through your practice. And you can use props if you choose. And if you'd like to vary or perhaps take an easier alternative, you could prop up on your bolster and take your legs overhead. You could take your legs up the wall if you choose. See how it works for you. And let's start with a little bit of rolling. Like this. Rolling through your lower back will be a little easier now as you've mobilized and loosened and softened. And come to this little easy shoulder stand here. Just wriggle your shoulders and particularly your elbows a little bit closer together. Splay your hands evenly through your lower back and thumbs around the waist, pointing towards the top of your mat. So typical shoulder stand grip, and brings lots of support. And that's the idea, to lean the weight of the lower body into those hands. And just take a little weight out of your shoulders and your neck and put it into your elbows and your hands. Anytime you want to come out, you can just bend your knees together and roll out and rest. You might roll back up again. Feel free to explore your way through this practice. So you take the legs up, keep them vertical. And you'll notice that my shoulder stand's not particularly upright. It's a little bit of Viparita Karani here. So a good option is to keep weight into your elbows and your hands, and don't come too far up onto the shoulders and the neck. If you're okay as you are, bring the left leg over, and you might contact a wall, a chair, or even the floor if you move the leg out a little bit towards the side or outside the line of your mat. It's actually easier to bring it down. Stretch up through the long leg and keep it vertical. This will help you to lift. And look to prop yourselves with your hands a little higher up the back as you do this. Change legs. Left leg is up, right leg is down. And a tip for you here, it's a little easier to bring it further down and perhaps to the floor if instead of going over the head, you bring it out to the side somewhat. So don't struggle with these. Lift up through that long leg. Exhaling, squeeze your quads and stretch both legs. And change sides once more. Steady breaths wherever you are. And quite active through the legs and the arches of the feet. And this will bring extra support. So these are half plows, and with that little sideways aspect to it would be an Ardha Pajva shoulder stand. When you've stretched into both legs evenly, you might like to bring your feet over, and they might come to the floor. You might use a block, you might use a chair. You can use the wall. Just take your legs against the wall. Exhaling, squeeze your quads. Lean the weight into your hands and lift the pelvis up. If you're managing okay, roll those inner thighs up towards the ceiling. Wherever you are, breathe steadily. And come out with that little roll. So you might take Uttanasana with the knees bent. And a roll out, a gentle roll out. It's a very nice way to come out here. Rest. Be with your breathing. Allow yourselves to just be. And we do this both on and off the mat. We can be much more forgiving and gentle with ourselves. And our whole existence is better for that. All right, so you can come into a nice easy twist from here, and we'll soften through hips, shoulders, back, and particularly shoulders and neck here. Wide, wide with your feet. I'm going to spin around this way so you can see how this twist works. Some lovely shoulder opening as you press out through your palms. As you roll through the base of the skull and tuck your chin towards your armpit here. Some lovely release through that opened shoulders and cervical spine, neck area there. And as you catch up with your feet and take them nice and wide like this and roll through your hips, it's a super release through pelvis, spine, back, shoulders, neck. Exhale into your twist. When you've loosened sufficiently, bring your hands under your head as your support, your pillow, and also your reference here. Bring your left ankle to your right knee and just move your pelvis a little bit to the right. And you can see that if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about. Just observe here, the pelvis goes to the right and then the lower body comes to the left quite easily. Walk that right foot away until you're on the inside of your right foot. Do you see that? Moving there gently away from the mat. And keeping the back of your head in your hands, just tuck your chin towards your right armpit. Take some steady breaths here and give way through hips, through your shoulders. And let breathing and body weight gently open the back and the spine. The super twist for the whole length of the spine, but tonight we're doing it specifically for neck and shoulder release. When you've held as long as you need to, go back to breathing and moving. Just change the lacing of your fingers. And loosen up as much as you need to here. It's a lovely pose for your hands and your fingers also. If you're a little bit wristy with your down dogs and your arm balance work, this position with the hands is a super release. Great counter pose for the wrists, the hands and the fingers. And then make the hands and your fingers your pillow once more. Bring your right ankle to your left knee and just remember to swing the pelvis out to the left before you go over to the right. Walk the left foot away and see it wriggling there. And tuck the chin into the opposite armpit. Make sure you're cradling the back of the head and perhaps the ear in the palms of your hands, and your neck alignment will be pretty good. You can also just lean back the head a little bit to the right if you're looking to the left, and slightly improve that alignment. Rest and breathe, open and release as you do. You may go backwards and forwards a few times with these. You might like to continue, or at least to finish with some more breathing and moving. And you're welcome to do all of these things. Make it your practice. And finish yourselves comfortably and evenly as we work towards relaxation here now. So the twist is a super sequence to release following your holds. And that is true for pretty much any hold that you're doing. It's great to twist in between forwards and back bends. And we're going to finish with this supported Matsyasana fish pose, which is quite traditional after shoulder stand also. A lovely way to do this one. As you wriggle over the bolster or any firm cushion that you've got here, drag your shoulder blades down your back, open the heart, the chest, and elevate the head as much as you need so you can start comfortably. Don't be in a really strong pose here. A little bit uncomfortable is about right. Elbows soft, shoulders soft. Your heart is uppermost here. Feel your breathing as it slows, as it flows a little more freely. And be with that. You're welcome to stretch your legs out. And for a little deeper upper back release, to stretch your arms out. Feel your neck lengthen as you do. And finish comfortably and easily and evenly here throughout the body. Stay as long as you like. Just roll yourselves out gently when you come out. And we'll finish with this lovely supported forward bend. With elbows just a little forwards of centre or top of the bolster. Sit back, lengthen back from those elbows, stretch forwards a little bit. And when your head comes down, rest your brow on top of the bolster. And breathe. Stay there as long as you feel you need to, and move to relax anytime from there, taking an easy Shavasana, a more traditional lengthened Shavasana, perhaps legs up the wall. Allow yourselves to flow into your practice or into your relaxation, to rest yourselves evenly down. To find and feel your breathing once more. And to be with the breath as we soften, open, and release now. And you're welcome to stay just as you are to complete your practice. Or to very gently wake your body up and come up slowly to sit. Wherever you are, stay with your breathing. And as you're ready, look for a deeper breath to finish.
If you are sitting, come to prayer position. If you're lying, move your body gently and wake it up. And take your time here. Let your eyes open as they're ready. And stay with this space. And take a little of it with you when you leave your mat. Namaste. And well done. It's a privilege and a pleasure to practice together, a great support to feel that we are all connected, even when we're not in the same room together. I hope you enjoyed your practice, and I'd love to see you again, whether it's in the studio or on the mat, anywhere. Namaste.